Kathy Woodard. I'm with Clemson University Public Service and Agriculture. I'm here at the South Carolina Water Resources Conference in Columbia, South Carolina, and I am with Dr. Tom Dobbins. He's Professor of Agriculture Education and the Director of Clemson Cooperative Extension. Tom, welcome to the conference.
Thank you, Kathy. Glad to be here.
And glad that you took some time to be with us this morning. Had a couple of quick questions for you related to Cooperative Extension and why your organization is attending this conference and why it's important to you.
Water is our most precious resource, especially over the last several years in South Carolina. We've been devastated going from a drought to going into one of the historical floods, into hurricanes. And for extension people, we have to take water seriously. We have to take educating the general public about water and water use. And as far as extension service, a lot of people relate us just to agriculture, water use, which is vital. Our farmers need water to grow their crops and to produce food for our growing population. But we also have to educate the general public on water use and how important it is for us to maintain an adequate water supply for all our citizens here in South Carolina. And so it's just not the farmers' role to conserve water, it's everybody's role to conserve water. And I think that one of the things that the Extension Service does better than anyone is to educate the general public on scientific-based knowledge. This conference is full with, all their sessions is filled with the most cutting-edge research that's being done in the area of water. And so it's very important that our agents attend to find out where they can go to get the most current information and unbiased research done in the use of water.
Thank you. And Dr. Dobbins, what do you see as the most pressing need we have here in South Carolina related to water and water resources?
I would say education. We all think that it's an endless supply, and it's not. If you can just go to Atlanta, Georgia, and you'll find that a poor designed water plan creates a lot of panic among people, especially when we get dry spells and when we go into a drought situation. So I think that what I would like to see, the most pressing information that we can get in water is unbiased researched information, which we can develop educational programs. So I'm just excited about our new water initiative at Clemson and the support the General Assembly of South Carolina gave us, the faith they put in the Clemson PSA to develop a unbiased water research program that will do the research and then we will disseminate it out through our extension service. I think that in years to come, that will be one of the shining stars at Clemson in the use of water. And I also want to make sure that people have not only an understanding or appreciation of water as we move forward in this state and beyond our borders.
I know there's been a lot of talk about watershed management, a lot of talk about emerging technologies and the use of emerging technologies as part of watershed management. Can you talk to us a little bit about the areas that are important for research and extension related to that?
One of the main things, the important thing is understanding water flow and to make sure that our people understand that water, no one really owns water because it flows. It's a continuous moving element and starts in our case in the mountains and then comes down. So I think that what we have to do in South Carolina and even myself is to understand where our water flows to. And if you look at our map, South Carolina has got a perfect state to do water research in just because of the topography of our land. And so I think it's very important for us to understand not only the way that water flows, but how it's filtered through the earth, what happens with irrigated water when it goes from the plant back into the earth, what's the difference between groundwater and surface water, what happens when we put in a brand new shopping center and cover up that much land and push that water out. And so I think it's very important to us is when we start with urban sprawl that we understand the difference between groundwater and surface water runoff and how that will impact local citizens when you have a 6-inch rainfall, where flooding is going to occur. We're also doing some really neat stuff. Dr. Chris Post on the last when Florence came through. He is working with us on putting GIS mapping down on top of the flooding areas where we can pinpoint how long it took the flood areas to dry, how the water moved through that area. And so I think that with our emerging technologies, it's just an exciting time to be working in the field of water, because there's so much we do not understand about water. We've taken it for granted for so long, and now we really have to understand it. And so it's just going to be a wide open field for the next foreseeable future, and the technology that we have now is going to really enhance our understanding of water.
One of the things that we've been talking about here, and the theme for the conference, is engaging for the future and preparing for water resource management. So if you had to think about your perspective related to a cooperative extension, what would you say would be the next step that we need to make in South Carolina related to water resources, water resource management?
In water resource management, we need to develop an extension. We need to develop educational programs to explain. For instance, one of the words that you're going to hear at this conference is capacity, water capacity. We've done a very poor job of educating our farmers on water capacity and recharging, and how wells recharge, and what happens, and how long it takes them to recharge, and how much rainfall, 1 inch rainfall, how much water is that. And so I think that what I see that the really critical area for us to do in extension is education. The other is understanding the purity of water, the importance of clean, safe water. And so I think as we move forward, as the population increases in this state, getting clean, safe water is going to get really, really hard to do. And so I think that one of the things that we need to do in the very early ages is to start educating our constituents on water. And I'm a big proponent, and we're working right now in 4-H to get some 4-H water initiatives where we can get the water education programs into our elementary schools. And the thing that I love about Extension, and of course the experiment stations that we have throughout the state of South Carolina, is that we are not being driven by any one person. We're being driven by unbiased research. And that's what I think is important about water, is we got to make sure that our research is unbiased, and it's got to be based on the facts as we know them. And so I think that we have a great future here as we move forward with water.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Dobbins, for your time today. Thank you for attending the conference, and we'll look forward to extension programs out in the state of South Carolina to help us learn more about water.
Thank you.